Welcome to Feagan and Finch, the podcast where we discuss everything football related. I'm Alex Finch.
And I'm Ryan Feagan. Let's talk football.
So, for this week's podcast, the much anticipated transfer podcast, we're going to be discussing all the big transfers we expect this summer to happen. We're going to be discussing the prices we expect. We're going to be discussing which players are going to go to which clubs, because there's plenty of players out there who've been linked to so many clubs. But what club are they going to go to?
A lot of rumours.
What impact is COVID going to have? Will it lead to less transfers, as people are saying, because of the drop in income? Will it lead to cheaper transfers, players becoming more value? We'll be discussing it. We'll be looking at the top transfers so far, the confirmed transfers, the Ziyechs, the Icardis, the Sanes, the Werners, the Hakimis. We'll be looking at them, seeing who's the best transfer so far, and then we'll be looking at the rumours and discussing which players we think will go where and the price they'll go. So I'm thinking, Ryan, we look at the confirmed transfers so far, and we talk about what's the best confirmed transfer. So I'll let you start us off.
Well, I think you know exactly where I'm going to start off. And potentially the best double signings since Abramovich first took over at Chelsea. It's I'm talking about Hakim Ziyech and Timo Werner. What a double swoop this is. This is absolutely incredible. This is just what Frank Lampard needs. We need that firepower up top. Werner, 95 goals for RB Leipzig in his time there. Their all-time top goal scorer, and he's only 24. This guy is goals galore. He will get you at least 20 goals a season. We've got Tammy Abraham up front right now. He's still doing great. Scored a good goal tonight. And also got Olivier Giroud, who again scored tonight. I would definitely keep Giroud in the squad. I'd keep Tammy Abraham for backup. Obviously, this means no place whatsoever for the unfortunate Michy Batshuayi. He's had an all right spell at Chelsea. Not the greatest. Didn't really live up to the hype as expected when he first come from Marseille back in 2016 when Conte first took over. But he's a Premier League champion, FA Cup winner, Europa League winner. Just a few accolades under his belt. He'll still play in the Premier League. I think he had a decent spell at Palace, didn't he, Finch? Just before this whole sort of pandemic started off. Returned to us, and he's not really done much since. But given the opportunity, he can bag a few. But like I say, with the arrival of Werner, he's going to be the starting striker. Let's be real. It's either going to be him and Tammy together, or it's just going to be Werner. There's no space whatsoever for Batshuayi, unfortunately.
Had a good few loan spells.
Yeah, he had a good few loan spells, definitely. Yeah, Dortmund, he was absolutely he was fantastic. But he just, I don't know, wasn't really cut out for the Premier League. He had a all right spell at Crystal Palace. Maybe he could go back to Palace, and see if he can do the same again.
Definitely. And completely agree with Werner. Striker, which I think will perfectly suit Chelsea. A great transfer. Chelsea swooped in when other clubs were looking in and a bit hesitant because of the drop in income of COVID, but Chelsea pounced, got his release clause.
No, Chelsea did not care about that. Abramovich just got his wallet out and said, "Bam, Frank, you take as much as you need."
47 million. And like I said before, Chelsea really suit Werner, because the thing is with Werner is that his whole game is about his pace and getting him in positions where he can score goals. So he'll stretch his offences. Chelsea traditionally have done well with strikers, big, powerful, and it's got pace though. So although they've been big, powerful like Costa and Drogba, they've also had a bit of pace and got themselves into positions which can break teams. I think that's what, like Anelka. And I think what Tammy's done well this season, what he's used is his pace. And although he's missed quite a few chances, which I don't think Werner will do, he's bagged a lot of goals because of his pace getting him those positions. And Chelsea tend to stretch teams with Pulisic, with Hudson-Odoi on the wings, with Willian this season, Pedro. They've always had quick wingers, and Werner will just add to that in terms of stretching defences, being on when they play on the counter, especially because when teams play Chelsea, they don't usually sit back as much as they do when they play Liverpool, for example. So
Exactly.
it's better suited to that because there'll be more space to go in behind. That's why I never understood the links to Liverpool. He probably was never linked. Well, never. There's probably never any real formal interest in Liverpool. It's just built up by the media because of the German links with Klopp. And Klopp may
Yeah,
be saying
exactly.
a few times that when a media journalist asked
He
him, "Do you
likes
like
his
Werner?"
style of play.
Of
Yeah.
course, you're going to say you like Werner because he's a world-class player. But I don't
Exactly.
think
It's like asking,
I
do you
don't
like
think that's
Messi? You know.
yeah, exactly. I don't think necessarily Liverpool were interested because he just didn't suit their style of play. You buy players which suit styles of play, and he suits Chelsea's, not Liverpool's. There's certain
Yeah.
players which suit the styles of play, and that wasn't it. You can be a
I,
world
I
class player and then go into a different team and not suit their play, like Kaká, for example. So
yeah.
I
Yeah,
do
it's a
think
great
he'll be
example.
great at Chelsea.
Yeah,
Match made
it's
in
going to be
heaven.
It's going to be fantastic, especially with Hakim Ziyech playing all them through balls in behind. My God, this is absolutely a sensational transfer. Just over 30 mil for Hakim Ziyech,
Mm.
absolutely fantastic talent. He's 26, 27 years old. He's still got a lot of years left in him. This is one that
In his
I'm
prime.
yeah, exactly. I'm really excited to watch this guy. Obviously, his transfer's gone under the radar a lot because of Werner's. People actually, I think some people actually forgot we signed him because there's not really much being spoken about him. He's actually training. He'll be training, sorry, with Chelsea in the next coming days. Now that he's officially left Ajax, it's we're in July now, so contracts are up. Transfer window is now open. It's time to party, and Ziyech, Werner, they'll be coming to Chelsea in the next few days to link up with Frank and his team. And that link up between Ziyech, Pulisic, and even Jorginho in the midfield, it's going to be something very, very tasty. And hopefully they will be joined by another German starlet who I'm sure we'll be discussing later on in the podcast.
Mm. Yeah, I'm just thinking, I don't think Jorginho will be able to get in that team. All these players in there. But yeah, I think
We are absolutely stacked in the midfield, Finch. Absolutely stacked.
Yeah. I think Ziyech, I think he's going to be a better player than Werner over the next couple of years. It's a shout, a big shout, but I think he's going to make a bigger impact because he is a world-class playmaker. You saw it in the Champions League last year. He's one of the best players in the Champions League last year. He
That
was
performance against Real Madrid was unreal.
Yeah, core to their run in that Champions League. He scored a fair few goals. Scored against Real Madrid in the last 16. And then obviously played a key part when they eliminated Juventus. And then he scored against Tottenham as well. They lost, but he scored against them. He played a key part on that. And people don't realise is that Ajax had a great team over the past years with De Ligt, De Jong, Van der Beek, plenty of good players. Dusan Tadic has been great for them. But it's been Ziyech who's been their player of the year for the last 3 years, 2017, 2018, 2018, 2019, 2019, 20. And you look at some of the other players who have gone and done well in different divisions from that Ajax team and have been great on the international scene. Ziyech was the best of the bunch in terms of from the Ajax fans and the Ajax players getting that player of the year. He's got in the Eredivisie team of the year from 2016 to 2019. Got the Eredivisie top assist between 2014 to 2019. He is a world-class player, potentially the best player in that league over the past few years. So I do think he's going to be a real star for Chelsea and probably the playmaker they need coming off the left wing. Because like you said, a lot of people aren't putting Ziyech in their plans for Chelsea next season in what they're talking about. They keep forgetting he's gone there.
Exactly. They keep forgetting that he's even there. I see all these 2020, 21 teams for Chelsea, and they just say Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, and a team of Werner up top, and you're thinking, where's the main man, the Moroccan magician Hakim Ziyech?
Yeah, and the thing is, he can play in a cam position as well as wing. So he's not really a traditional winger in terms of pace. He cuts inside a bit like Mahrez, but a bit more attack playmaker than Mahrez. Much more of a playmaker than Mahrez. So it'll be interesting to see where he does play.
Hell of a left foot on him. Hell of a left foot on him.
I'm not sure where he'll play on the left wing or playing like more of a cam position for Chelsea.
I feel like he'll play on the right. I really think he'll play on the right. I feel like he'll be one to cut inside more.
Yeah,
and I guess we'll stick with Pulisic on the left because Pulisic right now is playing unbelievable. He's in the form of his career. He's since the restart, he's been unbelievable. So I think Frank is going to keep him out on the left, where he's best, and Ziyech will probably he'll either play just behind Werner, and we'll put like Hudson-Odoi or a different winger out on the right, or we'll put Ziyech on the right and have a different centre forward, centre attacking mid just behind Werner.
Yeah. I can see that. I guess CH should just be given a lot of room to cut inside. Maybe even in the next year or two, he'll be given that Hazard position.
Yeah,
he has like room to move about if he proves himself a bit. Because it seemed like he could cut across the team, basically go wherever he wanted. And it seemed to really suit him rather than be stuck on one of the wings. He seemed to be able to move about that sort of attacking third quite a bit. So I can see that happening. And I think he's on the radar as well because he was signed in February. So people have just forgot about it really. Whereas Werner's been very recent, and now people are talking about that German playmaker, which we'll mention later on. So there are 2 transfers completed so far, and I think there's probably 3 others which are worth talking about. I think we've just got it. There's some we can brush over, like Cardi, because he was already basically signed last summer, so it's not really worth mentioning him. But one player we definitely need to mention, and that's Hakimi. Definitely the best right back in the Bundesliga this season. And obviously, I didn't watch too much of the Bundesliga before this year, but obviously when it returned, it was the only football, so I watched a lot of it. And Hakimi is an unbelievable attacking right back. His goal scoring ability, his crossing ability is unbelievable, and it would make sense for Real Madrid to keep him, given Carvajal's aging. Hakimi's probably an upgrade on Carvajal at the moment. Nacho is a very good right back. Obviously, he's performed in World Cups, but he's probably not a starting right back for Real Madrid. He's a good backup. So naturally, Hakimi would go into that position, you would think. But no, Hakimi's gone to Inter Milan for a £40 million deal, which I think
there's not even
bonkers.
A lot of money, really, is it?
Not at all. Considering Kyle Walker was 50 million, Benjamin Mendy 50 million, and yet Hakimi 40 million?
Yes, it makes no sense, Finch.
That doesn't really make no sense to me.
No, not at all. Unless, like we said, unless Madrid have that buyback option. He's only 21 years old. He's You think 5 years from now he's going to be in his prime? Even if he's already playing like he's in his prime at the end of the day, he's absolutely fantastic. Arguably best right back in the world to Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, that's what he's got 9 goals this season. That's unheard of for right back. Obviously, Trent is probably out on his own at the moment because of his overall ability, especially with the crosses. But Hakimi's not the best. Well, not far behind the best of the bunch behind Trent. Definitely, it just doesn't really make much sense to me at all. That transfer, I think Inter Milan, great transfer of Inter Milan, but there isn't a buyback clause. I usually see Real Madrid insert a buyback clause to say, okay, that makes sense. They can buy him back for 40 million. So, but no, like Danny Carvajal, I'm pretty sure he went to Bayer Leverkusen and they put a buyback clause in, so it made perfect sense. But
Hakimi, same with Casemiro. They send these players out like Casemiro, Danny Carvajal to learn the game, learn their trade, improve their positioning, their abilities, and then they buy them back for a little over the odds of what they sold them for, and they become world class and best in the world in their positions. But maybe Zidane or someone in the board just doesn't see it what the rest of us see.
Yeah, I guess that usually works for Real Madrid because selling a player, the clubs are more likely to play them because it's their own player. The players are more likely to perform because they're not just on loan. They're not just trying to impress the old club. They're actually performing for their club, and if they do perform well, they might get brought back. But for Real Madrid, the only thing I can think of is that they just can't see they're going to be making player sales for the likes of Bale, Rodriguez, obviously high wage bills, and they need to sell a player. Maybe they need to sell a player because they've been spending quite a lot recently on the likes of Hazard, Renier, Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo. A lot of young players have been spending big bucks on, so maybe they do just need to sell.
Yeah, maybe that is the case. They see some quick cash, and they realise that Hakimi was their cash cow to cash in on. So,
there's no other reason, really.
No, there really isn't, especially at a time like this when you really can sort of you can sort of settle down and think of your options, and you may be able to think, right, you can't afford this, so stay for a year. But maybe, hey, like you say, Madrid, maybe they need the money. They might go on a even bigger spending spree this summer.
Yeah, well, you look at last time they spent 300 million, which was crazy. They brought in just over 100, so maybe they do need to sell, because keeping players like Bale, James, Rodriguez on their wage book, it's not good news for them. And there won't be many teams wanting to take on Bale or Rodriguez at their current wages. So yeah, that's another transfer, and I think Hakimi's going to be up there as one of the best players in that division
Without a
next
doubt.
year.
Without a doubt, Finch. And I'm sticking in Spain. I'm going to the other big team in Spain. That's Barcelona. I think you can back me up on this one with one of the weirdest, craziest transfers so far this summer. It's Pjanic going to Barcelona, and in return, it's Arthur going to Juventus. What's all that about?
More bonkers. It was like within 2 days, wasn't it? Hakimi,
Yeah.
and this happened, and we were like, there is something going on.
Yep, in Spain, something's really not on. It's absolutely madness. I do not understand that transfer whatsoever. In Barcelona, you got a lot of aging midfielders. You got Busquets, Rakitic, Vidal, and now you're going to add Pjanic to this list, who he's 30 now. He turns 31 in little under 10 months or so, like that. It makes no sense to sell on Arthur, a world-class midfielder who's only 23 years old. Arthur's not even doing bad.
No, it's playing well, and like many people, I thought, okay, you signed Arthur, you signed De Jong, they're your midfield two for years and years and years to come.
Xavi, Iniesta, the replacement.
Yeah, and the thing which makes no sense, like you talk the ages of them, so it maybe would have made sense if Barcelona sold Arthur for 80 million because it's a fair fee if they just want to get some money and to sign someone else, let's say. But to sell Arthur for 80 million and sign Pjanic for 70 million, so you're basically the deal is Juventus get Arthur for 10 million plus Pjanic. That's what it is. It makes no sense at all, because Pjanic isn't worth 70 million. He's a player who's 7 years older than Arthur. 7 years, and they're a little bit different players, but they're very similar in terms of what they give to the team, I guess. So, like Pjanic isn't more of a he isn't much of a better player than Arthur, even though he's older than him, probably more in his prime. Yet Arthur has more years on him, is a Brazil starter. Obviously, Barcelona have always had links with Brazil, so the markability works there in terms of keeping that Brazilian fan base. It just doesn't work for me, that transfer. I really don't understand it, because let's say Pjanic is really good for Barcelona. How many years can be really good for them at his peak? He can be good for them 3 years maximum. No resale value there. They're going to get max back 20 million, let's say, after 2 years. After 2 years, if Juventus want to sell them, they're going to get at least 50 million.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense to me at all.
It's definitely one of the weirdest transfers in the last sort of 5 years that I can think of. Finch. It's the swap deal that doesn't really. I can't see it really working out for Barcelona. I see it working out for Juventus quite a bit, but
it just doesn't feel right at all. Like Arthur is a world-class player on his day.
I don't think Arthur actually wanted it.
He was playing for Barcelona like a day before it got confirmed, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I don't feel like he would have really wanted this deal to happen. He's playing for a team that he's loved since he was a young boy, and now he's being shipped off to go play in Italy for. I know Juventus. I know no team to grumble at. You guys from playing with Messi to playing with Cristiano Ronaldo, but from not really having too much of a say in the matter. It's I don't know, like I say, something feels a bit off about the whole transfer.
Yeah, I guess this summer that's what we're seeing. I think this is probably the impact of COVID. In clubs can't spend the big bucks without bringing in money, so they're having to do some sort of swap deals, wheeling and dealing. And Barcelona maybe wanted someone else, but to be able to get that kind of playmaker, well, a bit more of a playmaker than Arthur. Pjanic is a bit more attacking. He looks forward a little bit more. they had to do a weird deal to get that kind of player. And obviously, Juventus have got the better long-term deal, but maybe it's just the impact of COVID, meaning Barcelona to get that kind of player, they have to do a weird deal where they sell Arthur and get in Pjanic to get a player who maybe is more of a playmaking player, but it's not the traditional playmaker either. He is a centre mid with a bit of flair, but it's not what I would call a playmaker. And it just really doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Like usually with swap deals, there is some sense there. Like the biggest swap deal in the last few years was obviously Sanchez and Mkhitaryan. That made perfect sense before the transfer was done. Obviously, it hasn't worked out, but obviously Sanchez's contract was up in the summer.
Party. They're both playing Italy now, so
yeah. Sanchez's contract was up in the summer, and Mkhitaryan wasn't playing as much as he wanted at United. It looked like he was suited to Arsenal, so it was a win-win for both teams. Looked good, and even if it didn't happen now, obviously both teams obviously paying big wages, but they didn't cost them fees, so there wasn't anything on that end. Whereas this one is the fees, which is just a bit odd. And like Mkhitaryan and Sanchez were very similar ages as well, so that sort of made sense. Obviously, the thing which obviously Sanchez was probably more value at that time than Mkhitaryan, but Mkhitaryan had a longer contract at United, so it all weighed out for the free transfer. But this, it just doesn't make sense. And yeah, I think we can move on from that just because this one's just absolute bonkers.
It's rattled my brain, Finch.
And another bonkers transfer.
Yeah.
It's going back to Germany.
Ooh.
It's Leroy Sané. It does make sense, but for that fee, for 40 million, for 44 million, it's an absolute bargain. He's one of the best young players in the Premier League.
In the world.
He got the PFA Young Player of the Year just over a year ago, and yet now he's being sold to Bayern for a similar fee to Man City bought him for. I think they bought him for 37 million. They're selling him for 44. And I know he's only got a year on his contract, but that is a crazy fee for a player of his ability. At his age, 23 years old, he's got the world ahead of him. He can do anything in football. Yeah. He could be up there in years to come a Ballon d'Or, or 24 years old, sorry. He could be a Ballon d'Or winner. He's got that ability.
Like I say, he's one of the best in the world at this minute. He's only 24 years old. He's got so much ability about him, a lot of skill, scary amount of pace. In a way, I'm sort of glad that he's gone from the Premier League. It means that Man City won't be as dominant in that left wing position until you remember. Obviously, they got Raheem Sterling who can play there, and Bernardo Silva, and it's just back to crying again every Saturday.
Not pace though, is it? I guess it's like they had Sterling when Man City went their best in my head anyway. They had Sterling and Sane on the wings, the pace, and then
Aguero up top.
Yeah, and Aguero up top in his prime. Now Aguero is aging. Morris is very, very good. So is Bernardo Silva is off that wing, but I think Bernardo Silva is probably better just in an attacking midfielder role. I just do think Man City were best when they had those two pacey wingers. And now obviously with Sane up there, they don't have that option. No. Unless they sign someone with that amount of pace. It does sort of make sense that Man City had to sell him because he only had a year left on his contract. But surely they could have offered him more money because you're not going to find someone who's 24 years old who's more suited to the club.
He didn't want him, Finch. He wanted Germany. That was his destination. I think he was probably a bit homesick. Obviously, he's from Germany, playing at Schalke since a young boy. And Bayern's obviously everyone's dream club, I guess, when you play in Germany. And let's be real, he's also on 385 grand a week at Bayern Munich. Wow. He's not just going there because he loves the team. He's going there because the only reason anyone would go there for 385 grand a week, Finch. He loves the money too.
Yeah, actually, I didn't realise how much money he was getting there. But yeah, that's going to be a big transfer. And he'll be a player to watch next season because
he'll make his money back within 3 years.
Yeah, we were just talking about what Man City used to have with Sterling and Sane on the wings, pure pace. Bayern are going to have that. They have Gnabry and Sane.
With Lewandowski to feed. Jesus Christ, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with next season.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Sane at Man City, because though he's been excellent, one of the best young players in the Premier League, he hasn't kicked on as I thought he would, because I remember 2016, 2017, when his first season there, people often compared Sterling and Sane, and everyone thought, okay, Sane's the better one out of the two. He's going to go on and kick on. But it's been Sterling who's kicked on, really. He's been that main focal point of the team.
He's grown more as a player, hasn't he, Sterling?
Yeah. maybe that's why he wants to leave, because maybe he's been Sterling shadow a little bit, and obviously then
Yeah.
Bernardo Silva's come in, then Mars has come in, so he's got less game time. And then you got that big injury, obviously.
Mhm.
If you look at his stats, obviously
Yeah.
getting 10 goals per season, and Sterling just stepped up one season, got 18, 17 goals a year. So
Yeah, now
yeah,
Sterling's a bit of a goal scorer. Starner, I wouldn't really say Starner's a goal scorer. I'd say he's more of the creative sort of type. But he's still got a hell of a strike on him, Leroy Starner. Don't get me wrong.
yeah. So we've gone through, I think, the key transfers this summer so
Yeah,
far. I
so
think
far.
there's maybe one more which is potentially just about to happen, and that's Jude Bellingham going
Yes.
to Dortmund. So there's probably the last one worth talking about, the sort of transfers which have been confirmed. And I think we can put this in the confirmed category because it's basically all but done. And
Yeah.
Jude Bellingham's only literally just turned 17. It's what a talent he is. There's a famous story about Jude Bellingham that when he made his England debut for the England under 15s, he made it at 13 years old, his debut for England under 13s, and the story goes that there was over 20 scouts there from all over Europe. So you're talking Barcelona's, you're talking Benfica's, you're talking Bayern's, that were looking at him at that point. So it makes sense why now Dortmund want to have him, and I think it's a really good club for Dortmund. Look what they've done with Sancho, 17 years old. He's going there, and he's also going there with experience. So Sancho had no experience when he was going there. He didn't really have any game time. He's had a full season in the Championship, played 36 times so far in the Championship, got 4 goals, which is not bad for a 16-year-old in the centre mid position. Most Championship midfielders don't even get goal when he got 4 goals themselves. So
Yeah, exactly.
it'll be interesting to see what happens for him.
No, the best, I guess the best side to develop youth talent, as we've seen so far, Finch, probably is Borussia Dortmund. You know, they seem to have a way with their kids, and I think the sky's the limit for this young Jude. A fantastic one again for England.
Definitely. So, who do you think's the best transfer so far of the summer? We've got a few big ones in there. This is quite tough because Sane, Kimi, Ziyech, Werner, they're all on a very similar level, in my opinion.
They're all world-class players. They're all world-class transfers. You know, big money involved. It's a really tough one, Finch. I think Arthur could be a good shout. I think Arthur could do well at Juventus. I feel like Werner's going to do really well at Chelsea. I think Ziyech's going to hopefully do really well at Chelsea.
I just think long term, I think the best signing is Sane. So I think it's just a match made in heaven. But I think next season, I've just got to set my head. I just think Ziyech is going to make a real big impact. He's 27 years old. He's in his prime. I think he's going to be the best signing in terms of immediate impact. I'm not sure why, but that's just how I feel.
You say Ziyech then? I'm going to say.
In terms of immediate impact.
I'm going to say Werner. I'm going to say Timo Werner. I'm backing him to get at least 15 goals next year.
Yeah, to be fair, it's quite a realistic shout, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. So now we've looked at the confirmed transfers. Timo Werner and Ziyech, both Chelsea players. They're our immediate successors. So Chelsea are going to have a good season if our opinions hold and are true. So we'll see what happens. We've talked through the confirmed transfers. Now the second part of this podcast, the part everyone's been looking forward to, the part where we discuss
the rumours.
The transfer rumours. Everyone loves the transfer rumours. Everyone loves a bit of Sky Sports transfer centre. Looking at the transfers coming up. Jim White. Everyone also loves looking at BBC gossip pages from back pages, seeing what transfers are going to happen. You love it.
Yep.
So let's talk about what transfers we think will happen over the summer. What big transfers? We're not talking championship to championship club. We're talking the biggest and best transfers out there. What's going to happen? Are they going to happen with COVID happening? Will clubs stay in big money still? Let's talk about it. Where do you want to start?
So, I'm going to start off where I teased off, Finch. I'm going to start with this young German talent, you know, ticking off the trio. Hopefully he joins. Apparently talks have progressed a lot in the last coming days. There was even there's an Instagram story yesterday of this player on holiday on someone's yacht, apparently. Whether this is the owner's yacht, I'm not too sure. I hope it is. I'm talking about Kai Havertz to Chelsea. The fee I hear is around £90 million, and Chelsea that's put off a lot of clubs, but Chelsea seem to want to pay it, and they will pay it eventually. Um, wow, what a formidable side Frank Lampard is building for the future. Havertz is 20 years old, and you think of the attacking line that Chelsea will have is Pulisic at 21, Werner at 24, Havertz at 20, and Ziyech the oldest at just 27 years old. That is sensational, absolutely sensational. I really hope this transfer happens. I was a bit optimistic to start with when we first signed Werner and Ziyech. I thought, right, that's absolutely perfect. We get, like a centre back, and then that'll be what
Left back,
summer.
yeah.
Left back. That'll be an incredible summer. But the fact that Chelsea, Frank, they're all going out for this young kid who's an absolute beast in front of goal as well.
Mm.
It's
Yeah, no,
really great to see that Chelsea are coming back into play and ruining football once more.
yeah, I completely agree. What a player he is. It's only actually Sancho who's bettered his stats for a young player in that league in terms of his goal scoring. I think Sancho is the only quicker player to 30 goals in that league overall. And in terms of the assists as well, is this season alone, people said he had a bad season originally this year, and he's got 12 goals in the league in 30 appearances. It's a great return. Obviously, Chelsea are interested in him. There's a lot of rumours at the moment to do with Chelsea in terms of them stepping up their interest. Talks of bids and like that. Bayern obviously interested, as Bayern always are, in the best talents in that league. There's talk of Real Madrid being interested, but being put off the amount. But I'm going to put it out there. I just really don't think it makes any sense for Chelsea to be signing Havertz at the moment if they want to challenge next year. Because I think Chelsea have got a bit of money still left. They don't have enough money to get a world-class centre-back, a world-class left-back, and Havertz. They have money to get a couple maybe, but not all three, I don't think. And Chelsea are stacked. They've got one of the best midfields in the Premier League in the world in terms of that kind of position. They've got in Hartman's position, sort of the Cam. I know you can play wing a bit, but Cam is his attacking midfielder, centre front. That's his main position, attacking midfielder. They have Loftus-Cheek, they have Mount, they have Barkley, they have Ziyech can play there, they have Kovacic can play there. I just don't think Chelsea at the moment need Havertz, and they need to challenge. They need a centre back and left back. If you've got Koulibaly and Chilwell, I think you have more chance of competing with Liverpool and actually winning the league compared to if you got Havertz and let's say Tagliafico and you didn't get a centre back. I just think the money could be used better elsewhere. I think Havertz is an absolutely incredible player, but I just don't think it makes sense at the moment.
No, I do agree. I do agree with you there, Finch. I agree in a way that I would rather prioritise centre back and left back over getting Kai Havertz. I think, like you said, we're absolutely stacked in the midfield. Seem to get even more stacked in the attack now. Is Havertz needed? No, but would I take him in a heartbeat? I think Chelsea are learning from what Man City have done, and that's really building a solid squad, even if it's having these world-class stars on the sub bench and just dominating through the competitions. Man City have won the League Cup 4 years running with their world-class, their second team, which is just filled with world-class talent still. I think Chelsea have took note from that, and I think that's what they're aiming to do, build this absolutely formidable squad that will bring Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup success. But I do agree in a sense that I would rather, like I said before, I would rather prioritise a centre back and a left back, whether that be Chilwell and Koulibaly or whether that's Tagliafico and the Leicester Turkish left back. I can't centre back, so I can't pronounce his name. Soyun.
Yeah, I'm hopeless with that, but yeah, I can completely see your line of thought there, and to me, I just think there's more negatives to that transfer at the moment than positives. Just because we talked before about the message with Man City if they go ahead and sign someone for the David Silva position to replace David Silva instead of giving Foden the chance. I think it's quite similar to Chelsea because we talked before in the Academy podcast how Chelsea probably have the best academy in terms of the products coming out of that academy, the talent in their under-18s team, in their under-23s team, what actually comes out of it. the best academy in that sense. And it's not a good message to their academy players if they go ahead and buy Harvards, potentially one of the best players, young player. No, he is the best German young player in the world. Buy him ahead of playing the likes of Loftus-Cheek and Mount academy products from Chelsea in that position, because it's just a bad signal saying, even if you're the best in your age group at the academy, we're going to buy someone else who's even better from a different country and play them ahead of you. I just don't think that makes sense from the academy point of view, because Chelsea have been great this season in terms of playing their academy players, and they've seen the fruits of it. Obviously, Barkley's developed. Not Barkley, didn't come through the academy. I don't know why I mentioned his name. He's been decent last few games, but I don't know why I mentioned his name. I said Gilmore, the Mount, they've been great this season.
Yeah.
Tamori,
they've been
Abraham,
perfect in that.
When given the opportunity, they've been really good. I just don't think it will send the right signal. And like you said, the money can be used elsewhere. Obviously, people won't complain if he joins, but I just don't know if that transfer will happen because of the negatives. Now, it could just be a case like the media is building it all up, and maybe it's just a media story, and that's all it comes to. Because you see every summer these kind of things happening where the media is saying bids have come in, all of this is close, then it never happens. There's seen it with players like Schneider going for United, Bale to United, even Werner this summer to Liverpool. People were saying stuff happened, and after he signed with Chelsea, people were now saying stuff never happened between Liverpool and Werner. So I think it could just be media. You never know until it actually happens. But from an outside point of view, it doesn't click at the moment. Maybe next year it will click, that transfer. But at the moment, it just doesn't click with me.
No, I do agree with Finch. It's something that we may not need. Like you think this is Frank Lampard's first season. He's promoted you. We've had a transfer ban. He signed no players whatsoever, and we're only 2 points off. 2 points with 6 points, 2 games. I mean, win 2 games, and we are second place considering what happens with Man City. I think Frank Lampard, after tonight's performance against Crystal Palace, hopefully I want to say we've confirmed for top 4. Currently sitting pretty in 3rd place, which will attract a lot more talent from Champions League football to offer. But like you say, a lot of credit has to be given to that youth academy, Finch, who's helped us get there.
Definitely. And that is the place where I think Chelsea should look long term, because Lampard's the perfect manager to bring through youth. I don't think they need to be looking at German youth. Bring through youth at Chelsea, because that is the best youth in England, really. They win the FA Youth Cups every year. They always get to the further stage of the equivalent of the Youth Champions League. I think it's called UEFA Youth League. So why not promote them instead? Why not play Gilmore? Gilmore could develop into a cam in the future. Who knows? He's a great centre-mid at the moment. And he'd be starting for basically any other top 4, well, any other team in the Premier League outside that top 4. So put him in centre-mid, put him Kante next to him, put Loftus-Cheek in there, put Mount in there. You don't need Harvards. You really don't. Because let's think about it. I think it's Chelsea's potential team next season based on what we have. Let's say Kante's going to be in there, isn't he? Definitely in that midfield. When are you going to be looking at midfield and strikers? Let's try and picture it out. So Kante, definitely. Who's going to go next?
Kante. It's a real tough one, because Kovacic has been our player of the year. But you also got Jorginho, which makes me feel like Jorginho is probably not going to be there next year with the talent that we've got.
Someone's got to go, haven't they?
Someone has to go, yeah. I think it's going to be either Jorginho, who's going to go to Juventus. I feel Sarri is probably going to get rid of either Rabiot or Aaron Ramsey. That transfer really never really took off when it, I felt a bit bad for Ramsey, having to leave Arsenal like the way he did, going to Juventus. But that's just, that transfer never took off. And I feel like Sarri and Jorginho have this really nice relationship. Obviously, 2 years ago, Finch, Jorginho was destined to go to Man City. He was absolutely destined to go to Man City. Sarri then became the Chelsea manager, and all of a sudden, 24 hours later, Jorginho's on the plane to London, and announced the Chelsea player within a few hours, because Mauricio Sarri was named a manager.
That's another transfer, Jorginho. Talking about Jorginho going when he went to Chelsea. That's another transfer in my head. What I thought at the time. Why would he go Man City? Because it just didn't make sense at the time. Because he's not a defensive midfielder. He's like a deep line playmaker, really, isn't he? He's not that defensive. Man City, for their system, they need a player like Fernandinho to go in that position. because Fernandinho is that box-to-box midfielder, and he has those great defensive traits, just sweeping that sort of line between the back four midfield. They didn't really need a player like Jorginho. He didn't really suit their system because he needs someone next to him like Kante to be able to play his game. Because obviously you saw in his first year at Chelsea when he played in that sort of deep line defensive midfielder position with Kante ahead of him. Kante was playing more attacking. It just didn't work out because he's not that kind of player, and he got caught out playing in that role. He's been a lot better this year where he's had defensive backup from Kante. So that really didn't make much sense to me at the time when Man City were linked to him. But obviously they were, and it looked like he was going to sign for them. But that's sort of the same thing with me with Werner going to Liverpool. I think that would have been the same thing if he went there. Just not suited to that club, but he was suited to Chelsea when Kante is playing next to him, behind him.
So we still are we going into the midfield then for Chelsea?
Yeah. So if we're saying Kovacic and Kante, and then obviously Gilmour to come in when given the opportunity, because he's probably break through at the moment.
He's very, very young at the minute. I'd say left at the mid. I'm gonna say.
What are you playing? Are they playing three midfield and then three up top, or two midfield, one in front of them, and then three?
I think three in midfield. I think three in midfield's worked well for Chelsea since the restart. It worked very well against Man City. I'm gonna say Kante, Kovacic, and
everyone's fit. We're talking as well. Everyone will be fit.
Everyone's fit. I'm gonna say Mason Mount. Say Mason Mount. Yeah, Mason Mount's a big call to put him ahead of Loftus-Cheek. Mason Mount, and then left wing Pulisic, striker Werner, right wing Hakim Ziyech.
Yeah, that sounds like a very, very good team. And obviously, I think probably the most debatable spot in there, we said before, is Kovacic and the Mount. So probably Kovacic a bit less because of what season he's had this year. I can see him nailing that spot if he continues as he is. But Loftus-Cheek, if he does, he just needs a couple of games to probably get going. The ability he has is, in my opinion, he has more ability and more potential than Mount, but Mount's just been more consistent because he's less injury prone. So that gives Mount the advantage. But in terms of the actual ability, physical attributes, and what he could do in terms of box-to-box midfielder, you see when he just came today, just a little glimpse of it when he tried that assist for Tammy. I think he's outstanding, but like the only problem with him is many people think that he'll never fulfill his potential because of his back problem. So I can see Mount playing completely. We'll just have to see. But that's why you don't need Havertz, because we're having a debate without Havertz even in there. And we haven't even talked about Barkley, who's been really good the last few games.
No, exactly. But Ross Barkley could. That's why I was struggling to choose who would actually leave the club, whether it be Jorginho or Barkley. I feel like one of them's got to go. I feel like one of them will go, definitely. But Ross Barkley's been formidable since playing in the midfield with actually Mason Mount, which is why I feel like Mason Mount sort of complements the second midfielder, whether it be Kovacic, Jorginho, or Barkley. I think he can get a good game out of any of them.
Yeah,
so that's why I put Mason Mount in that team.
Yeah, I can see. Like you said, one of them will be going Jorginho or Barkley. I can see really a loan with a option to buy for one of them two. I can't see a permanent transfer. I reckon a loan with option to buy.
I feel like someone like West Ham will come in for Barkley. I feel like someone like West Ham.
Yeah, I can see that. That's it. But yeah, so that's Chelsea's team next season. It's absolutely formidable, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So we've talked a big transfer there. I think we should stay on the topic of Chelsea, because we'll be coming back to them, because I think Chelsea probably will be they have so far been the most heavily involved in the transfer market. I think they'll continue to be, because they're in the best position out of any club in the world, because obviously they didn't spend last year except from Kovacic. That was already tied up, that deal. So they obviously have the Hazard money, which came in. They had the Morata money, and they spent some of it. They still have some left, and that's if they just want to break even. So they could spend even more. Another position Chelsea were looking at is left back, and I think Ben Chilwell will be probably the biggest rumour of the summer in terms of this position. I'm not sure what you think, but since he's gone to Leicester, what am I talking about? He's been at Leicester his whole career. Since his been under the stewardship of Brendan Rodgers, I think has really kicked on at Leicester. That's what I was trying
Yeah.
to say. He's really kicked on and has sort of made that England left back spot his own. Started for England. His crossing ability is absolutely outstanding. He's very reliable. Obviously, a lot of people were put off by his performance against Chelsea last week. He didn't perform the best, but overall, he's a very consistent performer. You always get 7s out of 10 from him, 7 to 8. He might not always give you a 9, but he won't give you a 5. He's a very consistent performer who will get plenty of assists, have great crossing ability, take your corners, take your set pieces, and overall, he provides everything you want from a modern left back, I think, and would be suited to Chelsea because there's a lot of rumours that he actually supports Chelsea as well. So there is a match to be made there. I guess the only thing which is going to block this transfer is the potential fee, because Leicester are in a good position financially. Leicester are in the top 4 at the moment. Maybe they won't be when the season comes to an end because of their poor form, but at the moment they are. So Champions League club and Champions League club. Leicester are under no financial obligation to sell Chilwell. So we're looking at a fee of 50 million here, I think. And I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'd say 50 million fair. A fair
Chelsea
fee.
want to spend that.
I'm not sure how much longer he's got left on his deal. Chilwell. I think he signed a new contract this season. I'm not too sure about his. So he's got a good few years left on his contract. So yeah, the fee is going to be pretty astronomical. You think of the players that Chelsea could get ahead of him: Alex Telles, Tagliafico for cheaper.
A lot cheaper.
A lot cheaper. But are they better options? Definitely got more experience. Chilwell knows the Premier League. He knows the attackers in the Premier League, and he's put in very impressive performances week in, week out. Had his best spells before Christmas. After Christmas, Leicester, not just Chilwell, Leicester really started to boil. Started to come back into it of recent weeks, and he's performing well again. The rumours are very rife at the minute for Chilwell to go to either Chelsea or Man City. But like you say, he's got them Chelsea connections. This reminds me a lot of the summer of 2014 or 13 when Luke Shaw was had that fantastic season at Southampton, and we wasn't too sure where he was going to go. His whole family, he himself, is a big Chelsea support, but Man United just offered more money. So I'm not too sure whether it comes down to loyalty to the club that you support, or whether it comes down to the money side of things for Chilwell, like it was with Luke Shaw. So it's one of them ones where I think it's going to go down to be one of them transfers that goes down to the wire. I don't think it'll be happening anytime soon. I think it will go towards the last day.
Yeah, the reason for that is the fee. Because if he had a 25 mil buyout clause, he'd be gone. He'd be at Chelsea right now. It's just down to the fee. So I reckon if they can't agree on the fee, that's when Chelsea will look at Alex Telles or Nicolas Tagliafico from Ajax, because they're players they can get for 20 to 25 million, in my opinion. So a lot cheaper, half the fee of Chilwell. So it all depends on the fee with Leicester, because Leicester may end up wanting to sell Chilwell if they want to raise money for a different player. But as I said before, that they're under no financial obligation because they're in a good financial position. They're a well-run club and will have additional income from the Champions League or Europa League, where they finish. They'll definitely finish in the Europa League spaces, if not Champions League. So I guess we'll just have to see. And I think whilst I'm at Chelsea, the last position of Chelsea is centre-backs. Will Chelsea sign a centre-back? I think to compete next year at the very top, they need a true leader like Koulibaly. It's going to cost big bucks, but the reward for that is competing for the league, which I don't think they'd do without that leader in there. Obviously, you've got two great centre-backs, two young centre-backs starting this evening against Crystal Palace.
Yep.
In Zuma and Christensen. And you also have another great young centre-back in Tomori and a more experienced centre-back in Rudiger. But all those centre-backs seem to be the perfect centre-back for a Van Dijk, a perfect centre-back for Laporte, the perfect centre-back for a world-class centre-back to go alongside, to become world-class and start themselves. I think they need someone next to them to really compete at the highest level? Because they're all really good centre backs, but are they really good centre backs together? Are they really good centre backs in their own right? I think they're better suited to having someone of real good stature next to them, a world class centre back next to them to learn off. And only then, I think, can one of them become a world class centre back themselves. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Finch. That brings me on to the centre back that I was gonna say. If we don't get Koulibaly, is David Alaba. He's on the market from Bayern Munich. They're looking to get him sold, and he seems to be an option for either Chelsea or Man City. I don't know what you think about potentially David Alaba partnering Kurt Zouma. What a partnership that would be. A lot of pace about that partnership.
Yeah, I think that is probably not the obvious chance, because a lot of people are saying Koulibaly a leader, but David Alaba is a leader. He's played at the highest
Yeah,
level year in, year out. He's
exactly.
won the Champions League. He's got over 250 appearances for the biggest club in Germany, and he knows the pressure. He's become a leader himself, and he's obviously changed position from left back when he was starting out to centre back with the emergence of Alphonso Davies, and has made that transition very simple. I think he'd be perfect for Chelsea, a perfect player, that world class player I was talking about for
And
the
Finch,
likes of Tomori. And then if he comes there, then it's up to Tomori, it's up to Christensen, it's up to Zuma, it's up to Rudiger. Who is going to stand out and be his partner? Who's going to become the world class centre back next to him? Because they all seem to be at that level
yeah,
where they can make the next step up to be that world class centre back, but they need something to push them there. And I think having Alaba next to them will push. And in my opinion, I think the best placed player out of those sort of four, obviously, I think Rudiger is probably the most complete at the moment and a great player, but I think Tomori has the most potential to become that centre back partner. And obviously, he's right footed, so suits that also. I don't know about you.
mate, I completely agree with you, Finch. And while I'm on that subject, we talk about Chilwell, we talk about Tagliafico, we talk about Alex Telles. Let's not forget that David Alaba can also play left back. This is what his main position was for Bayern Munich. It seems to be the perfect transfer if we can get David Alaba, because we'll still have a great array of centre backs and also have a world class left back who can also play centre mid.
And the thing is with Alaba, it's what people forget. It's one of those players which kind of seems so young. He's only 28, so it's really just in his prime.
Yeah,
So
exactly, mate.
In my head, Alaba is about 32, just because how long it's been the game. But it's only 28.
It's been around for ages, absolute years. That's
So
the thing. He's been world class for so long. You just doesn't expect him. You didn't expect him to be world class since he's been so young. But that's the way that it goes for these players. They just know ball. They're absolute ballers. And David Alaba is one of the definition of ballers. He is fantastic, and someone who is deserved to play in the Premier League for quite a few years now.
definitely.
Hopefully, dream comes through, and he plays for Chelsea.
I think, yeah, definitely. And I think Bayern will be either selling Alaba or Boating this summer. We'll just have to see which one they sell, because I think they've got a lot of centre backs now, Bayern. Obviously, they made the big money Lucas Hernandez last year, so I think they will be selling one of them. And obviously, I think they tried to sell Boating last year, but no one was forthcoming because of his wage. You see, Alaba is still at that level. I don't think Boating is at that level. I mean, I think he's gone downhill a little bit.
Gone ever since Messi just broke his ankles in 2015. Boateng has never been the same since. Never.
Not at all.
Messi absolutely ruined the man.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But like I said before, Koulibaly is also in the market. Another centre back in the market I think is worth talking about. Maybe not for Chelsea, but we're finally moving away from Chelsea now in the transfer market. It's hard to, because Chelsea they will be the most involved in the transfer market, and there won't be that many clubs involved this year. But a player who's a centre back who Chelsea I don't think will be interested in unless they're desperate last minute is Thiago Silva. He's out of contract in the summer, and he's 33 years old, but still a very, very good centre back who can do it at the highest level. One of the world's best. So even for a year, or 35 years old, so I got his age wrong, but still a very good centre back who can do it at the highest level. Is there isn't many centre backs out there who's better than him, and he's a free transfer. He might have a little signing on fee, but that's
Yeah.
it. I think for a club such as Everton, I think it would be a massive scoop to get a player
Yeah.
like that. That could really push them into the top four, having that
Hmm.
experience. Even for a couple of years at his age, I just think because he's never been a player with the highest amount of pace, so it's all down to his reading of the game. That's how he plays. Because he's not the
Yeah.
tallest either. You've got to remember, he is a player who's not really the most physically suited to centre back. Because he might be quite strong, but he's not that tall. So
No, he's only what,
it,
6'5",
yeah,
11?
yeah, it's his intelligence which makes him the player he is.
Oh,
So
absolutely
that's why I think
fantastic defender.
he'll at 35 years old, he'll still do a massive job. And for a club such as Everton, even Arsenal, I think he'd be amazing for. Look what he did next to David Luiz at PSG. He made David Luiz look like
World class. He
nothing
got David
better.
Luiz into the team of the year.
Exactly, and that was a lot. A lot. What I said before about Chelsea, need like some of the setbacks at the moment. They need a world class partner. It's amazing what a world class partner can do in terms of making
Yeah.
their partner look amazing. That's what David Luiz is obviously a good centre back. Not what I wouldn't say world class, but a great centre back. But Thiago Silva made him look better, and that's what the best centre backs do. They make their partners look better than they are.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, that is a
that's
fantastic take. I would
mm,
honestly, Thiago Silva, I actually love him at Chelsea. He's a player that I've admired since he was at AC Milan. I thought he was one of the best in the world at AC Milan. Moved on to be one of the best in the world at PSG, and remained that ever since. Really, in today, he's even if you brought him in for a year, just think of what he could do for the dressing room. He's a
mm,
leader, Finch. Been captain of AC Milan, captain of PSG. He's a natural born leader. If you bring him for 1 year to say someone like Everton, Chelsea,
mm,
it's like it's John Terry sort of vibes about him.
mm.
He can provide a lot of passion, determination, motivation for the players to really crack on and just strive and be the best of their ability. That's what I feel like Thiago Silva brings to the table. And I think because he said hasn't he, he's not signing on another year with PSG.
Yeah, and
So
I just think he'd be a great sign in the Premier League. I think
yeah,
he could make that. Like Zlatan was the same age when he came to the Premier League, and he's as good as Zlatan is, but in a different position. I think he can make
yeah,
that real impact. Because Zlatan, United had years and years of sorrow after Sir Alex left, and when Zlatan came in, they won 3 trophies that year, if you count the Community Shield under Mourinho, and he made such a big impact. And Thiago Silva could do a similar thing for any club he joins and helping them compete at the highest level with his experience. Because even like I said with Chelsea, what we're looking for is a leader there. So if they can't a ready-made leader who's world class, if you can't get Koulibaly, if you can't get Alaba, there isn't many people about. There isn't many players about who feel that category of being world class and a leader. And Thiago Silva would probably be the next best thing after those two, or maybe not offering length of time those other two can, but definitely offering the leadership and the world class nature which Chelsea need. Maybe Thiago Silva's better suited because he could be the world class partner for Tomori to grow into the world class player. Then Tomori could be the world class centre back for Christensen to go alongside, or then they can learn off each other. They just need a little push by someone to make it work out for all the centre backs there if they just have Thiago Silva for a couple of years to learn off. So it will be quite interesting to see where he goes because he's obviously going to go somewhere. I just hope he doesn't end up going to like Russia or Qatar and choosing
oh
money.
yeah, I would hate that. I mean, I'd even respect it if he went back to AC Milan. I think that'd be a great reunion for him to go back there.
With
But
Zlatan,
yeah, with Zlatan as well. But like Finch, I mean, I think me and you both want him in the Premier League.
definitely. And he'll make money in the Premier League. That's the thing as well. He'll make plenty
He'll
of
make a
money
lot of
there.
money. Everton are a rich club.
Mm. And
Reunite
Everton
with
are
Carlo
crying out for a
Ancelotti.
centre back.
Yeah. What a
Yeah.
partnership of Thiago Silva and Michael Keane.
Oof.
That is something I never ever thought I'd hear.
Gives me shivers down my spine. That incredible. He could, but that's the impact. He could really, in all seriousness, kick on Michael Keane because obviously Michael Keane has a lot of potential still. Hasn't fulfilled
Yeah.
it. He could really kick him on, and Mason Holgate as well. Mason Holgate is probably Everton's best centre back at the moment over this season.
Yeah, that's
So
a really good
yeah,
shout. He'd be great for Holgate to learn off. Really
mm,
develop Holgate as well. So I think Thiago still would be the perfect match for Everton.
definitely. Just be interesting to see if it happens. I
Have
think
to
I
wait
think
and
it's
see.
time now, Ryan, to talk about the biggest transfer rumor of the summer.
Finch, you've
We
been
know what we're
waiting for
talking
this
about.
one for
It's
absolute
time.
ages. I know it.
It's time. We're going to
Take it
see this
away,
player
my friend. Take it
over the
away.
back pages. We're going to see this player over the
Thank you.
front pages. We've already seen him on the
Oh,
back page. We've already seen him on the front pages. And the transfer window hasn't even properly got started. He's a player who's potentially been the best player in the Bundesliga this year. A player who's probably the player who has topped Kai Havertz. And we're saying how good Kai Havertz was. This is a player who's topped him and by quite a distance. And that is Jadon Sancho. He's beat every single record possible at his level in the Bundesliga in terms of getting the most goals for his age, getting the most assists for his age. He's a complete talent. He's probably the only player we'll be talking about who could go on and almost certainly win a Ballon d'Or. We talked before maybe Sane could be in that category. Jadon Sancho definitely is in that category where he could push on and gain a Ballon d'Or. His improvement since going to Dortmund has been absolutely unbelievable. When you look at his age, Messi was not as good as him at his age. You look at the stats. Ronaldo was not as good as him at his age with the stats. Mbappe did probably have a little bit better stats, but he was a striker, so obviously going to have more goals in that age. Obviously, I'm not trying to compare him to Messi and Ronaldo because I don't think we'll ever see people that level. But I'm just comparing him for the stat in terms of
yeah.
the goals and assists he's getting at that age compared to them. And to get the goals and assists he has is absolutely unreal. We're talking this season, 17 goals and 32 appearances in the league, and he's not even a striker. Last year, his first proper breakthrough year, 12 goals and 34 appearances. I'm talking just the league. He's got 20 goals and 44 appearances, not in the league this year. He's obviously the top assister in that league. And the best thing about it, he's on the market. He is on the
Yeah.
market. If a club wants him, they can have him. Dortmund has said 120 million is their valuation, and there's a lot of clubs who would have absolutely stole him off Dortmund at a fee if COVID didn't come around. But COVID has meant clubs have less income, not willing to part with such a big fee. You look at, was it 3 years ago? Ousmane Dembele was a star at Dortmund, but nowhere near the level of Sancho. Ousmane Dembele got 6 goals that season. He was the same age as Sancho, I think, maybe 1 year younger, maybe he was 19, but it wasn't much in it. A couple of months, let's say. And he went for a fee above 100 million. I think it was rising to 120 million. And Sancho's double the player Ousmane Dembele is, in my opinion. He can do so much more. He is a much more
Yeah, I
complete player.
agree.
Ousmane Dembele is more of a tricky winger. Sancho can do everything you would want from a modern player. He's as close as you can get to a Ballon d'Or winner outside of obviously the greats in Messi and Ronaldo. So for me, 120 million even is a bargain, and you've got to snap their hands off. But I don't think it'll be as easy as that because of COVID, and I think clubs will try and Barca Dortmund down. But I think the reason I think this is going to be the biggest transfer in the summer is because of that 120 million valuation and clubs having less money. United obviously the leader of the pack at the moment in terms of trying to get Sancho, and they've said
Yep.
from the beginning they only want to pay 50 million because the current market you saw Sane go for 44 million and he had 1 year left in his contract. Sancho has 2 years, so Dortmund have a bit more time to play with, but not much more because next year they won't be able to get more than 50 million probably because of his transfer value. And people are sort of saying, okay, United have come in and said they only want to pay 50 million. Okay, that's over and done with. Not at all. You're not gonna.
No way near. This
You're
is
not
just
going to
the
come in and
start.
say we're going to pay 120 million. It's called barter. They start low.
Yeah.
They start high. Selling club starts high. Buying club starts low, and they meet in the middle.
Exactly.
That's what
Basic
happens in the
business.
barter. Go to a car boot. You don't say I'll pay you £1 when the guy says £1 for this
No,
freedom. You say
you
I'll
go
pay you
£2,
20p.
£3 below. Yeah,
Yeah,
go £2, £3 below the asking price, and then work
exactly.
your way up.
But this is the transfer because of that will go on and on and on because of the
Yep.
details of the fee. Because this probably will be, if it does happen, the biggest transfer of this summer. So it's to be seen whether it does happen. And the latest development is apparently that Dortmund have told United they must complete the deal by August the 10th. And I think with Dortmund is, although I said that usually it does come to a compromise, a lot of the time Dortmund are very firm in their price. They set a price. They are a selling club. They usually set that price. With Dembele, they set it 120 million, let's say, and they won't buckle until a club meets that price. So it'll be interesting to see if that does happen, because obviously Dortmund don't need to necessarily sell, but it seems like they're planning for Sancho to go because they're signing the likes of Billingham. They've got players coming through like Reina. Obviously got Haaland. They signed Minia, so they have made some signings with high wages. So it'll be interesting to see if he does go. And one more thing before I can let you continue on this, Ryan. I said when I was talking about league goals and assists in the top leagues this year, it's only Messi and Lewandowski who have got more goals and assists than Sancho this year, which is a crazy stat. And one more thing, people say with United now, Greenwood, what an emergence. They say, okay, do we need Sancho now? Greenwood is a striker. He's played left, right wing a little bit at a time. Look at his youth history. He's a striker. His long-term position will be a striker. But here in Martial fighting for that spot. Rashford can obviously play off the left wing. Has benefited playing off the left wing. Seems like that position suits him a lot more on cutting in. Sancho's a right winger. There's not a better right winger in world football than him. And Sancho is another level to Rashford, is another level to Martial. Great players. Greenwood, great potential. He could be quite close to Sancho in terms of potential, but still Sancho is the next level of talent in my opinion. Sancho, let's say Greenwood could get to Van Persie level. Sancho could get to just below Ronaldo level, which is absolutely crazy. Probably when I say Ronaldo, Cristiano was talking about, but I'm thinking more in my head, probably actually the original R9 level. So you're talking absolutely world-class level in your time period. One of the best in your time period, but not obviously generational in terms of overall history of football, like Cristiano or Lionel Messi. Because look at this. So people saying, do United need him? Do United need him? They've got Greenwood, they've got Martial, they've got Rashford. Great front three. They've done great. But Sancho's goal contributions are 1.1 per game. The next best in that front three for United is Rashford at 0.92, Greenwood at 0.91, Anthony Martial at 0.82. There's a massive difference there. And that difference is what you call the cream of the crop, the very best. And that's why United have to get that global superstar. If they want to compete, they've got to get the global superstar in the front three.
Yeah, I completely agree, Finch. If United do end up getting Sancho, they are going to have one scary team next year, and they will be real contenders for the title alongside Liverpool, City, and Chelsea. But speaking of City, like we said before, they've just got rid of Sane. Could they be in the running for Jadon Sancho? We said before about how their best front three was Sane, Sterling, Aguero. What about a front three of Sterling, Sancho, Aguero?
I just don't think they can afford it, because I think this UEFA transfer ban is going to come in with a UEFA Champions League ban, or there'll be a spending limit ban.
Come.
Yeah, well, either way, I don't think they'll be able to afford it, because if they do spend big money on him, how are they going to get around the financial fair play? Because if they couldn't spend the money before when they were bringing sales and they had attendance gate, how are they going to spend big money and justify it with financial fair play? Because obviously they can't afford. If that in years gone by, if they've been found out as not bringing in enough money compared to their outgoings to comply with the rules, what's going to happen if they spend 120 million and not have any significant player sales except from Sane? So I don't know. Well, we'll have to see. And if Man City make another big sale, maybe that could happen. I guess Silva's wages is now off, and Sane's wages are now off the wage bill, so it could be easier from that front, and especially if they do payments across a 4-year period for Sancho. Maybe, but I don't know. I don't know if there's any going back there for Sancho at City, because Guardiola didn't seem to like it when he left, and I just don't know. To me, it seems like Sancho would be more suited to the red half of Manchester, and also. I think Sancho wants to be that, from looking at his social media, the type of person he is, he wants to be a global superstar. I still don't think Man City, I think you can be a superstar at Man City, but can you be that absolute domination, global superstar? I don't think they have that fan base, in my opinion. Man United, there's very few clubs in the world they have a fan base enough to make you as big as a David Beckham, to be on the front pages of every newspaper, have a career after football at the very top, in terms of at the very top, wherever you want to do, politics, fashion, whatever, because you're at the front page, you are at the club which has the biggest fan base in the world, everyone knows your name. And Man City, I just don't think they're at the stage yet in terms of their fan base to make him probably the global superstar who he needs to be. There's very few clubs in the world, like I said, Barcelona, Real Madrid, probably Man United's the only one from the UK which could give him that platform. Maybe Liverpool, their fan base also, but Man United are the biggest club in terms of fan base in the UK to give him that platform to be the absolute superstar, to give that number 7 shirt, to be the next David Beckham probably in terms of the next face of English football.
That's a big
He's
shout.
that good. I think he should be the next face of English football.
I had a big shout, Finch, and one that Jadon Sancho can definitely back up. I agree. I think you're right. This kid's got a lot of talent ahead of him. Big future ahead of him too. One that there's going to be a lot of money involved in this transfer wherever he goes. We're saying United could be his only destination, but let's not rule out, Spain, Real Madrid, they could go in for him, Barcelona, Juventus even. I mean, Inter Milan, they seem to be spending quite a bit of money these days. AC Milan could be on a bit of a resurgence.
I wouldn't put Inter or AC there, just at the moment in their current state.
You don't reckon?
I just don't think I don't think it's a big enough step up from Dortmund. I think he'd probably rather stay at Dortmund and develop. Just because of their style of play as well. I just don't think he'd be that focal point player in their systems like Conte. He doesn't seem, I just don't think he'd be the focal point in that system and benefit as much as he should do probably. And Madrid, I thought about Madrid, and I think the only position that in years to come where they'll invest heavily in is a striker, because I think they've been clever with their wingers and bought Rodrigo, bought Vinicius Junior, bought Renier for
Hazard.
Years to come. Yeah, Hazard. Yeah, I didn't even talk about Hazard, but bought Hazard. So I think they got those wingers covered probably for years to come. And they've probably got the next best crop of young wingers outside of Sancho, and obviously they've got one of the best, if not the best, current out-and-out winger in. I don't know why I call him an out-and-out winger, because he's not an out winger, but that winger position in Hazard. So I don't see them going for Barcelona. If you never know, but I guess they've got
Barcelona. If I think I could see Griezmann leaving, in the summer, I could really see it. I could see him going somewhere like PSG. They get a load of money. That's if Barcelona don't want to include Neymar in that sort of deal. But I can't see Neymar going, not with everything that's been going on. I think he'll stay another year. So with that, I think Barcelona, they could move for someone like Jadon Sancho.
Definitely, and I think another podcast has just been set up there whilst talking about Griezmann, because great player, he's got a great chip of the weekend, but for his transfer fee, 100 million, it's probably been the biggest flop this year. And we're talking, when I said transfer for 120 million or 100 million, let's say, it's crazy that's going to be basically the same fee as Griezmann, yet Sancho is probably going to be a Ballon d'Or winner in future years to come, and they're debating over the price. And that's the impact of COVID we talked before. COVID's meant clubs are getting less income because they're not getting gate money. Obviously, in certain countries like the Netherlands, they're not even getting any money because their leagues just stopped. So that's the impact that has played, is the knock-on in the transfer fees, because clubs can't afford as much this summer, except from Chelsea, because the reason talked about before, they didn't spend any last summer. They budgeted, they got money from Hazard and Morata. It's probably worked out best for Chelsea. It's been a wonderful experience with COVID, because it's meant now the club's going for these players, so they don't have to. Everyone knows Chelsea has money, but they can't say pay us more because one release clause on release clause on Ziyech, and the third one, COVID's meant clubs are just desperate for money. So when Chelsea make further signings, clubs won't be debating with Chelsea on that. Going back to Barcelona with Sancho, the only thing which puts me off it is, I think the only way that will happen is if Barcelona get rid of Dembele.
Yeah, that's a good point. And not only forgetting Ousmane Dembele or Antoine Griezmann, but another forgotten man, another even probably bigger flop, Felipe Coutinho.
Wow. And
how do you forget about him?
Another player is going to be, I don't know if he'll been in the limelight a little bit this year, because obviously he's going to be available for transfer, 28 years old.
Yep.
Who can forget his £142 million move to Barcelona? Well, that could be the final fee if all the clauses are met, obviously. So probably 100 million up front, then it could rise to that. But that was the quoted figure. And obviously it hasn't worked out for him great at Barcelona. He hasn't replaced Iniesta like everyone thought he would. Was shipped off to Bayern Munich. They're not going to activate that £110 million release clause. He's going back to Barcelona. Who knows what happens? But who's actually going to realistically want to pay big money for Coutinho? The only way out I see for him is a loan move.
Yeah, it's got to be a loan with obligation to buy for like half the fee because it's not going to work out. You think, Finch, just thinking about it now, they spent nearly 350 million on Ousmane Dembele, Coutinho, and Griezmann. And what have they done for him?
Haven't replaced Neymar. That's what's happened. Just
Exactly.
hasn't
I
done
haven't
it.
replaced Neymar. That is
Hasn't replaced
that
him.
is sickening thought. Jesus,
Hasn't
that's
replaced him.
incredible. Actually, that's a scary amount of money.
So
But
talking about Sancho, what do you think will happen? Do you think he'll go
I
to Man United,
I
or
think
do you think he won't? Because it's a difficult situation with Dortmund as well, because if they don't sell him this summer, next summer he'll only have a year left in his contract. It's the same situation as with Sane, because obviously next summer then he'll get in a situation where they're going to sell him for a lot less money, maybe half the money. So
yeah, it's a tough one.
this, in my opinion, this
Um,
summer if he goes, it'll be United because they're the only party willing and able to probably pay that amount of money, and they're in a situation where they need a right winger. A right winger would complete a team. They could give him the platform to be a global superstar. I don't think Real
yep,
Madrid, I don't think Barcelona, I don't think the other clubs would be willing to spend. Also, Real Madrid, as I talked before, just doesn't make sense to them because they're bought in those positions. Clubs like Chelsea might have, probably Chelsea's the only club which have the money to do it, but I don't think they'll do it because it's not the position they're looking at, and they have so many young wingers already, and they've just given Hudson-Odoi their standout young wingers player a massive contract. So I think they wouldn't do that because of him on his part. And obviously they've got the young winger Pulisic on the other wing, and they've got Ziyech to come
yep,
in. Werner can play on the wing if they want to put Giroud up front as well. So I just can't see that happening either. Even though they're probably the only other club in the Premier League who could, at the moment, afford him on current terms. So Liverpool probably could if they sold Mane or Salah. Um, and give them that platform based on their model, but only if they sold one of those two, in my opinion. Whereas Man United is probably the only club which could go this summer. But if it doesn't happen this summer, I think it will be a massive transfer race next summer. And who knows where he goes
or
next
even
summer.
January, even in January.
Hmm. But
You
what,
think
what do you
Bruno
think will
Fernandez
happen?
with that big, but Bruno had that Bruno Fernandez saga all during summer last year. It never happened, but then something happened in January. So if
Definitely.
I think it will happen this summer. I really do. I think if it's going to
Hmm.
happen, it's going to be this summer.
Yeah. And I completely agree. I think he'll go United this summer because ultimately I don't think
Yep.
United can risk other clubs being interested next year.
No.
Because when you
No,
have a standout
definitely
talent,
not.
a generational talent, once it's gone, it's gone. And
Yep.
then they'll just be ruining it. Thing they were doing the Arsenal traditional Arsenal route when Arsenal linked to this a great player when they're young and never get them. Man United don't seem to do that. They seem to go after these players and get them. This is an opportunity for United to get back to the very top. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is helping. It's probably been the best, definitely the best January signing by far.
Yep.
Potentially the best signing over this whole year in terms of the impact it's made at United. Is transforming them back into a top 4 team, but they've still got a long way to go to transform into a title-winning team. And I think Sancho would almost put them in that bracket where they could challenge over the next few years. Maybe not next year, but the year after they could challenge, and he'd be the reason for that. And I think they need the only way that type of challenge comes back is if they do get a player like Sancho, because ultimately to challenge for a title, you either got to have an incredible team of 11 players working for each other who are world class in their own right, or you've got to have a team which works well together, but you have a few world class players and maybe generational players to push that team, like you do with Barcelona at the moment with Messi. That's why they're winning league titles, because not all of them are world class players at the moment, but they're winning league titles. Whereas you compare it to Klopp's Liverpool, they're the former option. They're a team which probably doesn't have the couple of standout generational talents, but have several world class players in a team which works together. So I think United are a team which needs that generational talent in there to push them on,
Yeah.
really. And I think it will happen, but probably in August, maybe end of August.
Yeah, it does. It's this one being a quick transfer. I think it will run to the wire, just like just like with Chilwell, just like with Ben Chilwell. I don't think it's a quick transfer saga that's going to happen. It's going to be we're in it for the long run. It's going to be a long summer.
And I think that transfer is actually going to rule United out of further transfers, because a lot of people are
Yeah,
saying, like, at the beginning, everything's gone a bit quiet on this one now, but a lot of people were linking Grealish with United, and you don't see those links as much now. And I think maybe that's to do with Sancho and money being spent on him, and also where would Grealish fit in United at the moment? because obviously they've got Fernandes and Pogba, and now Matic has signed a new 3-year deal, and then McTominay in there as well. So would it make sense to get Grealish as well? But obviously if they get relegated, he'll become available. He'll become
Exactly.
available if they don't get relegated, but it's more available if they do.
It's,
Where do you
I
think he might
can't.
go?
Exactly. Jack Grealish. Some Spurs, Arsenal.
Maybe.
I think they're crying out for a player like Jack Grealish.
Arsenal.
Arsenal, Spurs, yeah. Everton even. Hell, he could even make the jump. He could go. He could stay in the Midlands and go to Wolves.
Wolves is a good shout, you know.
I think it'd be a cracking signing for Wolves.
He wouldn't cost that much money either if they get relegated.
No, exactly. He would not cost a lot of money.
And the Spurs are looking for a cheap transfer. Jack Grealish is the player to go. I'm pretty sure they bidded for Jack Grealish before when he was in the Championship. It's come to my head, but I'm pretty sure they have.
20 million, I believe, or something around that region.
Yeah.
They rejected it.
And Spurs could do with a proper nasty centre mid like him.
A bit of personality about him. There's no real personality in the Spurs team. Yeah, exactly.
The only thing which puts me off him a little bit is that he plays in a similar position to Ali, I guess.
Yeah, but
I guess it may bring the out.
Dele Alli or Jack Grealish.
If you ask that any year of the last 5 years, you'd say Ali. If you ask it this year, you'd say Grealish.
Exactly.
Because yeah. So yeah, it's a difficult one. I guess I think Spurs would have to sell a centre mid to go for him, because at the moment they've obviously got Ali in that attacking midfielder role. They've got Ndombele, they've got Gedson Fernandes, who I think they've got obligation to buy. They've got Lo Celso, Giovanni Lo Celso. They've got Harry Winks. They've got Musa Sissoko. So they've got quite a few players in that position. So I think they'd have to get rid of, probably have to get rid of Ndombele and send him out on loan. But I do think Ndombele's got more. I think he's got unbelievable potential. He's a player I've got wrong this season.
Seem to get on with. Does not seem to get on with Ndombele for whatever reason. I don't know. Hasn't even started a game since the restart. I just don't see him being in Mourinho's plans for the future.
So maybe if he goes, maybe Grealish could come in.
Yeah, exactly. And imagine a midfield of Grealish, Sissoko, and Lo Celso. That's a brilliant midfield right there.
Yeah, that is unreal. So maybe that could happen, but I do think Grealish will definitely go. He might not go if they stay up, because he's their captain. But if they go down, I think he's going to go.
I could see him going to Arsenal. I really can see him going to Arsenal. I think Dani Ceballos, he won't stay. I think he'll go to
another
Arsenal.
one. Where is he going to go? Because he's only going to be on the bench at Madrid. Because I think Odegaard will go back to Madrid and be a starter.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be a starter over Rios.
Yeah. Someone like Ceballos, I feel like he is either going to be someone who plays for like Valencia or Villarreal or Osasuna or somewhere like that, not like the lower ranks of Osasuna.
Sociedad.
Sociedad or maybe even Sevilla. But it's either that or I could see him going to AC Milan or Inter Milan.
It's just interesting where he goes.
In the Premier League. Yeah. A bit like Denis Suarez, whatever happened to him.
Well, at least to be fair, Ceballos has made a massive impact at Arsenal. Suarez definitely did.
Massive impact?
I wouldn't say, but he's had a good impact. Like tonight, even you look at the ball against Leicester to set up Saka for the ultimate assist.
Yeah.
He sort of drives those balls before the assists. And I think maybe not massive, but a good impact.
He's had
and obviously,
a better impact than what Suarez had.
Yeah, and you look. I remember that Euro under 21 championships. He was absolutely unreal a couple of years ago. Player of the tournament.
Yeah, he was.
Was it last year? Yeah, last year. So just, I don't know. Obviously, talking about Madrid as well, we've got one other player I think we should talk about. Who we talk about Coutinho, a
Ooh,
player who's the same age as him, who's they seem to follow similar careers in terms of doing really well, coming up, being an absolute stand-up player, and then being shipped off after it not working for them at a massive Spanish club. And I'm talking James Rodriguez, also gone to Bayern. They didn't activate the clause. He's now 28 years old. He's gone back to Madrid for this year. Hasn't played too much. Got massive wages. Seems like he's going to have to go because Madrid don't want him clearly. And
no.
the only sort of team I can see spending sort of some money on him is probably Everton because of that Ancelotti link, and
Everton.
Ancelotti loved him at Bayern.
Yeah, I could see Everton. If
Maybe
not
Napoli.
Everton, Wolves. I think Wolves
Yeah,
might be a
Wolves.
good fit for him. If Wolves will be in the Europa League next season, Everton won't be. They could definitely attract the a star like James Rodriguez, 100%. That'll be
Hmm.
a tasty midfield of João Moutinho, Ruben Neves, and James Rodriguez. Oof, that's a very
Oh,
tasty midfield actually. Um,
bringing back the Monaco connections.
something I want to
Moutinho.
see actually. That's something I want to see. Like you say, someone like Everton to stack him up again, Spurs, Arsenal. He wouldn't cost a lot, I don't think. I'd really because
20 million probably.
yeah, probably 20, 25 million if that. Um, wages would probably be a little high, probably one of the highest earners of the club, but he still has the talent. He's not a bad player. His confidence is just low. I think if he's a regular starter at a club like Wolves, Spurs, Arsenal, you'll see the old Ham. You might not see the old James Rodriguez, but you'll see flashes of him. I think the best is still. I think probably the best. I reckon the best is probably gone, James Rodriguez. But I think there's still
2014
some
World Cup
class.
we're talking there, aren't we?
Exactly, that's 6 years ago. 6 years ago, Finch.
That goal against
So I think
Uruguay, chested it. Top
exactly.
scorer.
Goal of the tournament, player of the tournament. Well, Messi got player of the
Mm.
tournament. Three should have been James Rodriguez.
Definitely should have been
Um,
James that year.
but he's not lived up to the hype since. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think he could still produce some key moments. But you won't get. I don't think you'll relieve. You'll get the glory days out of him. I don't think you'll get it. But he's still a great player.
Yeah. So I think we've gone through so many transfer rumours, and I think it's clear the biggest transfer rumour is going to be Sancho. I don't know about what you think. Have you got any more rumours you want to get out there?
I've got a few I can just quickly list off. We ain't got to
List
go
them
into a
off.
big. So there's talk of Hector Bellerin going to PSG. I think that would be a pretty interesting transfer. Thomas Meunier has just gone to Borussia Dortmund, so I'm not too sure actually who's PSG's right back at this moment in time. I don't think they even have one.
Not of my knowledge.
No, so I think that's a real solid transfer that could happen. There's talks of Inter Milan striker Lautaro Martinez going to Barcelona, the young Argentinian, and then replacing Martinez at Inter Milan is Sergio Aguero. Um, again, one that I could actually see happening with maybe Gabriel Jesus getting the nod to start up front, be Man City's main striker. Um, Declan Rice, he could be on the move. He could go to Man United, Chelsea, Spurs. The list of clubs that are after him. He could play centre back, centre mid, CDM. Very, very good, very, very good talent there. One that I just want to quickly say a shout out to one of my favourite players of all time. Glad this has actually happened. It's Iron Robin. It's not really a transfer, but he's come out of retirement to play for his boyhood club, Groningen, in Holland. I think that's
Year
absolutely
retirement, wasn't
fantastic. Yeah, he came out of retirement. I think that's an absolutely fantastic story for him, and great to see him back again, cutting on that left foot. Another transfer we've got an interesting one here. Memphis Depay could be coming back to the Premier League with
he? Oh,
Arsenal looking to offload Lacazette and bring in Depay for a fee of under 20 million.
oh,
And
bargain.
ever since leaving United, Depay is he's flourished really. Wouldn't you agree, Leon?
Yeah, I think he's become the main man at Lyon and main man for Holland as well.
Yeah,
Obviously got
I
that
think he's that.
injury, which was very unfortunate and would have ruled him out Euro 2020. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously wasn't given a second chance for next year. on the international front.
I think if Arsenal get him for under 20 million, it's an absolute bargain. I think no matter what they do with him, they can always make money off that because he's quite a big name as well, Memphis Depay. Another transfer saga that will be probably going on for some of pretty much all the summer, I reckon, is Thomas Partey to Arsenal. There was doubts about Xhaka's future. He seems to have a bit of resurgence under Arteta, but I still feel like he's not really the player that Arsenal need in that CDM role. I think Thomas Partey is this absolute rock in midfield. If not Thomas Partey, then definitely Wilfred Ndidi, who's I think I'd go for Wilfred Ndidi over Thomas Partey. It's a big statement there, I know, but Ndidi, you got to think he's got the Premier League experience. He's also younger, a few years younger. I think Ndidi would be the gamble worth taking. Going up north a bit, we've got Liverpool, who are hoping to bring in Thiago from Bayern Munich.
What a transfer that would be.
This would be an absolutely fantastic transfer. I love.
Premier League would be over at that point, let's be honest.
Yeah, I love watching Thiago play football. He is so great to watch. Poetry in motion with Thiago. Poetry in motion. He is one of the ballers of the century ever. Best ever. Unbelievable skiller. Gutted that he'd be going to Liverpool and not someone like Chelsea. But at least
Chelsea don't need him, though, do they?
No, they don't need him, to be fair. But if at least we get to see him in the Premier League week in, week out. A player depart in the Premier League potentially in the summer is looking more and more likely. Chelsea legend, in my opinion. Great Man United player, Juan Mata, going to Fenerbahce.
Is that true? Is that happening?
Yeah. As that's a very, very strong rumour there.
It's an odd transfer.
He's only got 1 year left in his deal, so it'll be a free transfer, or unless he signs an extension for a little bit of money to help out United like they need it. I could definitely see that one happening. We've got another one that's for Arsenal, which I don't know if it will happen just because they've got Saka, they've got Pepe. I'm talking about Saint Maximin from Newcastle to go to Arsenal. Fantastic season in his debut for the Newcastle winger. Could I see it happening? Not this season, but I feel like if Pepe doesn't perform up to the standard that he should be doing next year, I could see them offloading Pepe and getting in Saint Maximin. I don't know what you think about that one, Finch.
Yeah, I can see that happening, but I think Saint Maximin definitely needs another season at Newcastle.
Yeah,
he's recently just done a really good run, but overall, his whole career has been played by inconsistency. Reminds me of Adama Traore when he was before this year. Adama Traore has really kicked on this year in terms of consistency, and I think Saint Maximin probably needs another year at Newcastle to redevelop. And who knows if Newcastle get this big takeover, get a few more players to match Saint Maximin's talent and potential, he could have the platform at Newcastle to stay there. So yeah, I think that'd be an interesting one. I've got a couple more players actually as well. Just quickly list off. One of them, a player you love, a player who's weirdly linked to Barcelona every year, which doesn't really make
Chris
sense.
Martin?
Chris Martin? Will Keane? No. It is.
Oh, no, don't
Willian.
say that name.
It is Willian.
Willian.
It's actually this season, he's got the most goals he's ever got for Chelsea in the Premier League. He's got 9 goals this year.
I know. 9.
Been Chelsea's penalty taker recently and has been very good at penalties. Obviously, look at the last 5 games. Against Crystal Palace tonight, so we filmed this on a Tuesday night. He got 2 assists. Previous game against Watford, a goal.
He played really well. Ever since the restart, it's been fantastic.
Yeah. Previous game before that against West Ham, 2 goals. Leicester, he got an assist. Previous game before that at Man City, he got a goal. So those 5 games, he's got 4 goals, 3 assists. Great return. That's just the last 5 games. But he's obviously out of contract in the summer, and he's 31 years old. Still can offer so much for a club. So I can only see him going for a top level club, and he could even re-sign at Chelsea. Who knows? But I just think Willian would be a great free transfer for anyone, and potentially along with Thiago Silva, the best free transfer around this summer. And it will go on for the next month at least. I think who he's going to go to for a big signing on fee.
He's only signed a month extension, so it'll definitely be to the end of the season.
Then they'll look at whether he will re-sign with Chelsea because that is an option. He could end up going to Barcelona because year after year we see these rumours, and it's very odd this because Barcelona seems to be offering 50, 60 million at one point. Chelsea was saying no every time, and it seems very odd Chelsea was saying no because that's big money for a player. I think at one stage they offered a swap deal with Malcolm plus money. It seems
40
very
million
odd.
plus Malcolm.
Yeah, and Chelsea rejected that apparently, so it was very, very odd at the time, but he could eventually go there because Barcelona obviously really do like him.
Yeah.
So I can see that happening. Or if United don't get Sancho, he could be destined for United. But I think if he stays in my opinion, he either goes to Chelsea and signs a contract extension or goes to Barcelona.
Yeah, I could see that.
And one final one from me, Edouard from Celtic.
This is going to be my one
great
too.
Player who's sort of taken on the foil from Dembele. Musa Dembele has been Celtic's real star man over the last 2 years. 22 goals in the league this year. Great return, and I think it's probably time for him that he, as with any great Celtic player at the moment, due to the league and how far you can go in that league, you get to a time where you're almost too good for the league and you need to move on to a top European division. I think the time has come for Edouard now, and I think maybe a club like Wolves he could go to, or something like that, where he could develop and go to the next stage of his career. And if he went to Wolves, he could potentially be replacing Raul Jimenez, who obviously has been linked with the likes of United, even Real Madrid has been linked to. So we'll see what happens there. But the thing against Raul Jimenez is that he's 29 years old. So if a club was buying him, they'll be buying him in the short term. So we'll see what happens on that front.
The team that I was reading about that he was linked with actually wasn't Wolves. That's an interesting transfer. The one that I was reading about was him actually going to Leeds if they get promoted.
Yeah, I read that as well. And Crystal Palace were linked to him also, which would be interesting.
That'd be a really good, sign actually. For either of the clubs, I think he's absolutely fantastic striker. Celtic seem to have a bit of good fortune with French strikers in there for their team.
The best way to go. And obviously they got Edouard for a cheap transfer from PSG.
Yeah. One transfer I'm surprised you haven't spoke about, Finch, is potentially the double swoop from Napoli to or from Lille to Napoli, is that Osimhen and Gabriel. I don't know if you want to say a little about that.
So yeah, obviously huge talents on both fronts. And I saw this a couple of days ago that they were linked with this 80 million to 100 million pound deal, and it seemed like it was done from a lot of the reports, but now it's obviously come out that maybe it's not done and maybe these were false rumours. But Osimhen, what a season. I knew he was a great talent when he was on loan at a club in Belgium. Did absolutely amazing there. Great Nigerian talent. Wolfsburg was his parent club and they sold him to Lille. And Lille, obviously a great development team. Look at Hazard, look at Pepe. And he's really developed there. Got 18 goals in all appearances at Lille. Great player there. And Lille obviously have had a very good season in that league. And a lot of it's down to Osimhen, really, because of how well he's played in that. They got fourth in the table, which is a really good finish for them after a few years outside that top four. So I think he's done really well. And another key reason for them doing really well is Gabriel. So the Brazilian centre-back, he's been a stalwart for Lille this season. And he's only 22 years old. Osimhen's 21 years old. So it would really suit a club like Napoli to push them into their next chapter. And the double swoop would be a real good move for them. But I think, in my opinion, Gabriel is probably maybe ready for the next step in terms of going to a club like Napoli. But I think Osimhen would really benefit from one more year at Lille, because he's done a real good season. But I think he could just have one more year there and really develop. And maybe even Gabriel could as well, to be honest. I think they'd probably be best suited to having one more year at that club.
They're still very young, aren't they? So, like you say, one more year could really suit them.
Definitely.
I'm one more, actually. I have one more. Surprised we didn't mention this one. I'm surprised we didn't mention this one on my list. It's RB Leipzig centre-back Upamecano potentially going to Bayern Munich.
One more year in his contract, isn't he?
Yeah, that'd be a big transfer if that goes ahead.
Yeah, and only 21 years old, so can see something happening there in terms of 1 year left in his contract. Something's going to happen.
Something's gonna happen. It's gonna be a good summer full of a lot of transfers. Hopefully ones that we've said, hopefully they come true because there's a lot of tasty ones there, and they'll
Mm.
improve a lot of sides.
Yeah, if
So,
the window goes as we've said it's going to go, it's going to be a very tasty summer, a very tasty transfer deadline day. But we'll see
oh
what
yeah,
impact COVID has if some of these transfers won't happen because of the money involved, or if they happen on loan deals or obligation to buys. It's going to be quite interesting. I think it's clear the standout transfer of the summer, well, the standout transfer rumour of the summer will be Jadon Sancho, the next English
hmm
prodigy. So we'll see what happens there. We're saying he's going to go to United, but we'll come back to this in September, in October. I think the transfer windows finishing mid-September this year because of when the season's closing. So we'll come back at that point and
yep.
see if he's signed. And obviously we talked about the confirmed transfers, and we're saying Ziyech and Werner the biggest impacts next year. Let's see what happens. Let's see if our predictions are right. But that is the
Hopefully they
transfer.
are.
That's the transfer podcast.
Oof. Hopefully you enjoyed.
See you next week.